Just be out with us to Porto, Portugal. We came here originally for just 1 week and ended up staying for the entire month. And in this video, we would like to share with you our first impressions of Porto, Portugal. Just be out with us.
One of the first things we noticed upon arriving here in the Uber is that the streets are super narrow. The Uber driver was driving between two buildings and there were some people kind of walking on the side, and literally you have inches of both sides of passing people, and there's a car coming our way right now, so let's get off this street really quickly. Yes, with people walking in the streets and also the building side. So it's really cool though. I love narrow streets. It's so cool.
And also there is a lot of cobblestones here. So ladies, forget about your shoes.
No heels.
Be sure to wear comfortable footwear.
Another thing we definitely noticed, as you can see behind me, hills. There are a lot of hills here. When you're on the side, when you're looking out over the river, the houses actually look like they're stacked up on top of each other. That can only mean one thing: hills. A lot of hills. So proper footwear, as Irina mentioned before, would be really cool for you to have, something to walk around and be super comfortable with. And yeah, we're just gonna continue walking up and down these hills. It's gonna be a good workout while we're here for sure.
What we noticed here in Porto is that there are a lot of parks, and the parks are really well groomed and beautiful.
Absolutely. I mean, even the city in itself is pretty much clean. We always see people cleaning or they're grooming. As Irina mentioned, the parks, there's always people grooming the parks and stuff. So all in all, the city is very clean.
There is no garbage laying around. Like, for example, in New York, you walk around the city and you see trash everywhere.
The parks has its own vibes of its own. It's so laid back, it's chill. Like right now, we're at one of the parks and it's sunset and everyone's out here just kind of chilling. Everyone's on the same pace. You don't see people running, people are here. It's almost like everyone's kind of having a picnic. They have their snacks, pizza, wine,
drinks.
Yes, such a cool vibe here in the parks.
And the city in general has a really nice vibe, and everyone is going in the same pace. You don't see some crowds rushing, you don't see locals trying to get out of the way. When I was doing the research, I came across a lot of people saying that the drivers are aggressive. I didn't
we didn't see that.
Notice that the drivers being aggressive. They do drive fast sometimes on these narrow streets, which pretty scary for me. It's like, oh, how you can drive so fast on this narrow street?
But then again, coming from New York, I don't think no one can drive as aggressive as New York drivers.
Yeah.
Like, it's even so cool. Like, there's times that we would come out here and we would see people just sunbathing out here, and it's just like, wow, like that.
Yeah, in the middle of the city, in the park, people just in the bathing suit, suntanning.
Yep.
It's really cool. Overall, Porto has a really cool and chill vibes, and we're loving it.
Facts.
Something that we did not expect is people actually swimming here in Douro river right off the historic center. And the reason why we didn't expect it is because there are a lot of boats and boat cruises coming from here. When coming to Porto, I didn't realize that sardines were such a big part of their culture, and they actually have several specialty stores that sell only sardines in cans, and those stores are so fancy looking. They're like candy shops for sardines. Check it out. We were pretty surprised how public laundromat looks like in Porto. It looks so fancy. It looks like a cafe. The machines are just there boarded up. It looks super clean. This is awesome. Usually in the US, whenever you order alcohol, they ask for your ID, even if you look the age. Here in Portugal, every time we order alcohol, no places ask for our ID. Cheers. Coming to Porto, you will notice a lot of different small cafes. They are so tiny, they hold a few tables, they are really charming. While in Porto, we notice smoking is very common here. And when you are sitting in an outdoor restaurant enjoying your meal or drinks, cheers.
Cheers.
The table next to you might be smoking. So something to keep in mind.
Another thing we noticed while here in Porto is that in the city, especially, they have these massive, gigantic garbage bins. And they're normally right next to each other, and they're about 4 to 5 different colors. There's a yellow, a green, a blue, I think a white, and they all signify different types of trash to be recycled. And in the evening time, you have these trucks that come on with a crane, and they'll just hook up these massive bins and just bring it over the top of the garbage truck and just open it, and all the garbage would pour in. But it's cool that they actually recycle like that. I mean, we did say again that the city is clean, it's very clean actually, but it's cool that they also recycle like that.
And it's funny, they have 2 types of a garbage can. Really tiny one on a post, and
Throughout the city.
ginormous one. I'm 5'1", and that bin is bigger than me.
It's massive.
Even though, yes, we knew Portugal is right on the Atlantic Ocean, we didn't realize that Porto had a beach, and the beach is really popular. And strolling through the beach, another thing we didn't realize that a lot of women go topless. Who knew?
Right? We just popped into the Majestic Cafe, and this is a very renowned place. A lot of tourists come here. And I ordered one of these because we've been walking around shooting and it's hot and I'm about to quench my thirst. But on this, Super Bock is everywhere here in Porto, no matter where you
Their
go.
national beer, probably.
Yes, and it's not only everywhere you go you can find this beer, but it's also on billboards, it's on awnings, it's on umbrellas, outside cafes. So it's a very popularized beer.
Heavily represented.
Absolutely.
And advertised.
Yes,
And it tastes really good.
it is very good. So when in Porto, Super Bock. And there's also a Super Bock arena.
And also want to talk about prices. Generally, Porto is very affordable. We went into different cafes, and the prices are pretty affordable, and I would say much cheaper than in the US. But this place, Majestic Cafe, is super touristy, and all the prices just, I don't know, triple, quadrupled, you name it. So, for example, this is the famous pastry that you must try when here in Porto. It's called Pastel de Natas. So if you buy it in the supermarket, it is 39 cents. In regular other cafes, it's about $1.20, $1.30, maybe $1.40. Here at Majestic Cafe, it is €3. And tea, I ordered a pot of tea. It is a tiny pot and comes in a bag. It is €6.
So there you have it, Majestic Cafe. Well, I'm gonna quench my thirst with that. Cheers. And now we are at
Manteigaria. This is actually a factory where they make these delights, Pastel de Natas. That's all they do. They specialize on only making pastel de natas. That's just to tell you how big pastel de natas are here in Portugal. Not only you can find them on every corner in every single bakery, but also having specialized stores that only sell these.
And we just came from Majestic Cafe, where we just bought the exact same thing. Now, mind you, I can safely say now, not all pastel de nata are made the same. This one, for example, it's filled to the top with the cream. In the Majestic Cafe, it wasn't. In the Majestic Cafe, the outside, the crust, was actually really crunchy and not flaky. This one, flaky.
I can
Big
hear
difference.
it by the crunch.
And the amount of custard in it, spot on.
And they make them with sugar on top, so the sugar burns and it caramelizes it a little bit.
And of course, you always want to wash it down with some
Port wine. This is, again, one of the things we noticed right away. Everywhere they serve you port wine or just wine in general. even if you are in the US and you go to a pastry shop, most likely you won't find liquor there. But here, even just as simple as pastry, and they serve it with wine. Also, we went to Pastel de Bacalhau place. Also, they sell that pastel de bacalhau with a glass of port wine.
That's right. You could always pair whatever you're eating here with a glass of wine. Cheers. Everywhere you go in Porto, you will find pastries. No matter where you are around every corner, pastries is a thing. You see it everywhere.
And we noticed that in Portugal, a lot of people eat bread, and there are a lot of different type of sandwiches. Again, anywhere you look, any type of coffee shop, they serve a lot of different sandwiches. We did not know that Porto had so many churches. As we walk around the city, we pretty much see a church like every 10 minutes. Look at this one right here. This is covered with blue and white tiles from all the sides. Really cool. Porto has so many artists. Some of them paint on the streets, some of them are singers, musicians, but you see artistic people all over.
When in Porto, pretty much everything is in walking distance. Well, the main attractions such as the churches and maybe different tours and different things you'd like to experience, all these things are all within walking distance, which is pretty cool.
And there are a lot of public transportation options as well. But because everything is so close, we didn't even feel the need of taking a taxi or using any public transport. We just walked everywhere, and I love it. It looks like it's starting to drizzle out, so we decided to come to a cafe shop and have some of the pastries. And what we noticed here in Porto, well, it's probably Portuguese thing anyway, that a lot of pastries are made out of egg yolk. And some of them don't even look like they're made out of egg yolk. Look at this little treat. Would you believe it's made out of egg yolk? I mean, it does look like a yolk.
It looks like a fruit, actually.
Or yeah, looks like an apricot. Or this also has egg yolk, and so many other pastries that we have tried are based on egg yolk. What we noticed here in Porto, well, and in Gaia as well, the streets are really narrow and the cars are really small as well. Well, even though the cars are small, there is still not enough parking on the streets. There are some streets that have a cutout into the side for cars to park, right, like over there, for example. And right behind me, the car is parked right on the sidewalk. We just crossed the bridge to get to the old historic center of Porto, and something that we noticed right away is that there are a lot of old buildings, literally ruins, and there are newer buildings right next to it.
We are standing at the Cathedral do Porto, and right behind me, behind these doors, it's really cool. Irina and I were here taking photos, and I saw a guy with a shell, a white shell with a red cross. That means that they're going to do the El Camino walk. And for those of you who don't know, it's a long walk. Sometimes it goes for about a month of just walking, and you're supposed to, the purpose of it, I guess, is to find yourself and just being alone, or sometimes you do it with other people, with other friends. But anyway, you can look that up and you'll see exactly what that's all about. It's a very spiritual thing. And here I saw a guy with it. Then I asked him, he's like, yeah, I'm about to start the walk tomorrow. And he's like, this is the office where you actually get the shell, you get you get registration, and I think you get kind of like a passport book where you get all the information punched in, and as you proceed along your way, because there are checkpoints that you have to get to. So when you get to the end, your passport book has all the different stamps to certify that you did do the walk. It is really cool, and I didn't even know it was right here.
Another funny thing we noticed about Porto is that people hang their clothes to dry outside their window, outside the house. It is so fun. And most of all, we found people are really friendly and welcoming. And Most people who are in tourist industry, they speak English very well, and other locals who don't speak English well, they still know a few words, just enough for you to communicate with them. And if they don't speak any English at all, they will try to find somebody that does to help you out. Another thing we noticed, it is very important for the locals to know that you enjoy their country. Anybody we spoke to, they ask us, how do you enjoy my country? How do you enjoy Portugal? I'm really happy that you like Portugal.
And we want you to come back.
Yes. So this is it for our first impressions of Porto and Portugal in general. If you've been here before, let us know what you think of Portugal, what anything that shocked you, anything that is different that you like or maybe even dislike. As I mentioned before, we've been here for the entire month and created so much content for you. Porto travel guide, Gaia travel guide, Douro Valley travel guide, must eat, things to do, and so much more. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click like or even get us a cup of coffee by clicking the thanks button below. Obrigada for watching, and as usual,
Just be out with us.